We build cities upward. Skyscrapers, towers, cathedrals reaching toward the sky. That is what civilization looks like. But across the world, there are entire cities that were built in the opposite direction, downward into the earth. Some of them go deeper than a 25-story building. Some stretch for hundreds of kilometers. These are not legends. Every city on this list is real, verified, and in most cases open for visitors. Let's start beneath the cobblestones of one of Europe's most famous cities, where an entire underground world was built, abandoned, sealed, and completely forgotten for over a century. Number 7. The Edinburgh Vaults, Scotland. Edinburgh's South Bridge was completed in 1788, designed to span the deep Cowgate Valley and link the Old Town's High Street with the University District. The bridge consisted of 19 arches. Only one is visible today. The other 18 were enclosed by buildings on either side, and within those arches, floors and ceilings were added to create roughly 120 underground chambers. For a few decades, the vaults were productive. Taverns, cobblers, cutlers, and storage rooms all operated beneath the bridge. The problem was that nobody had bothered to waterproof the surface. Water seeped through the sandstone. The air turned stale. By 1795, businesses were already leaving. Within 30 years of opening, the vaults had become Edinburgh's worst slum. Families of 10 or more crammed into single rooms with no sunlight, no sanitation, and no running water. During the Irish potato famine of 1845, refugees flooded the tunnels. Crime followed. Illegal whiskey distilleries operated behind bricked-up walls. By the 1860s, even the poorest residents had left. The vaults were sealed with rubble and forgotten. Over a century passed before a chance excavation in 1985 uncovered the warren again. Workers found clay pipes, ceramic jars, toys, and medicine bottles. Evidence of real lives lived entirely underground, erased from memory. The Edinburgh vaults were forgotten for a century. But the next underground city on this list was also forgotten, and what was found on its walls has rewritten part of World War I history. Number 6. The underground city of Naours, France. Beneath the Picardy Plateau in northern France lies a 3-kilometer complex of tunnels and more than 300 chambers carved from chalky limestone. The network dates back to the 3rd century and was expanded significantly during the 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648, when entire villages sheltered underground from armies crossing northern France. Local families claimed chambers as their own, carving their names into the walls. The entrance collapsed in the early 1800s. The tunnels were forgotten until Abbot Ernest Danicourt rediscovered them on December 15, 1887. They became a local curiosity. But nobody realized what else was down there until 2014, when French archaeologist Gilles Prilot from the National Institute for Preventive Archaeological Research began investigating the tunnels to date their construction more accurately. His team found something unexpected: over 3,000 inscriptions left by World War I soldiers. Names, ranks, battalion numbers, and dates written in pencil on the limestone walls. Roughly 2,000 of them were Australian. The rest came from Britain, France, Canada, New Zealand, and America. The inscriptions looked like they had been written 5 minutes ago. Naours sits near Vignacourt, which was a busy staging area for the Somme battlefields. Soldiers on leave paid a small fee to tour the famous caves. Private Alan Alsop from Sydney wrote in his diary on January 2, 1917, that he and 9 companions visited the tunnels that afternoon. His pencil inscription on the wall matches the diary entry exactly. Herbert John Leach, a 25-year-old from Adelaide, wrote the words, "Merely a private," on the wall in July 1916. He was killed 1 month later at the Battle of Pozieres. Naours preserves the names of soldiers who disappeared underground for a few hours of peace. But the next city takes underground living further. In this place, people do not visit underground. They live there, right now. Number 5. Coober, Pedy, Australia. In the South Australian outback, 846 kilometers north of Adelaide, sits a town where roughly half the population lives beneath the surface of the earth. Coober, Pedy was founded in 1915 when a 14-year-old boy named Willie Hutchison found the first opal while his father searched for gold. A mining rush followed. The problem was the heat. Summer temperatures in Coober, Pedy regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius and can reach 52 degrees in the shade. The early miners tried living above ground. They failed. But they noticed something. The mines themselves stayed at a constant 22 to 24 degrees year-round. So they did what miners do. They dug homes. Today, the underground dwellings are called dugouts, and roughly half of Coober, Pedy's population, approximately 1,500 people, lives in them. The town has underground churches, underground hotels, an underground bookstore, and an underground museum. Residents come from over 45 nationalities. The opal fields produce over 70% of the world's gem-quality opals. Signs around town warn visitors to watch for unmarked holes. The name Coober, Pedy comes from the Aboriginal term Kupapiti, which translates roughly as white man's hole. This is the only underground city on this list where people are still actively choosing to live underground. Not out of desperation, out of practicality. Coober, Pedy goes down 1 or 2 levels. Comfortable and livable. But the next city on this list goes down at least 8 levels, 85 meters into the earth, and it could shelter 20,000 people behind half-ton stone doors that sealed from the inside. Number 4. Derinkuyu, Turkey. In 1963, a man in the Cappadocia region of central Turkey was renovating his home when he knocked down a wall and found a hidden room behind it. He kept digging. Behind that room was a passage. Behind the passage, more rooms. And more. He had accidentally uncovered the deepest known underground city on Earth. Derinkuyu extends approximately 85 meters beneath the surface, deeper than a 25-story building. Archaeologists have excavated at least 8 levels, with estimates suggesting there could be up to 18 in total. The city could shelter up to 20,000 people, along with their livestock and food stores. It was not a cave. It was a fully designed city. The first caves were carved into soft volcanic rock by the Phrygians in the 8th and 7th centuries BCE. Greek-speaking Christians expanded them during Roman times, adding chapels and inscriptions. By the Byzantine era, the city was fully formed. It was used as protection from Arab armies during the wars between 780 CE and 1180 CE, as shelter during the Mongol invasions of Timur in the 14th century, and as a refuge for Cappadocian Greeks fleeing Ottoman persecution as late as 1909. The engineering is what makes Derinkuyu extraordinary. More than 50 ventilation shafts, some reaching 30 meters deep, circulated fresh air throughout. Deep wells sourced water from an underground river, with the water supply originating on the lowest floors so it could not be poisoned from above. Half-ton rolling stone doors between levels could be closed from the inside, sealing off each floor independently. If invaders breached one level, the rest remained secure. The city had wine and oil presses, stables, storage rooms, a religious school on the second level, and a cruciform church between levels 3 and 4. It was connected to Kaimakli underground city through 8 to 9 kilometers of tunnels. Over 200 underground cities have been discovered across Cappadocia. Derinkuyu is the largest. Only 10% is open to the public. If you have been finding this fascinating, consider subscribing. We cover history, archaeology, and hidden places like these every week. Now, Derinkuyu was built over centuries. The next city was built in a single decade, by hand, by 300,000 people preparing for nuclear war. Number 3. Beijing's Dixia, China. In 1969, at the height of the Sino-Soviet border conflict, Chairman Mao Zedong issued a directive that would reshape the ground beneath China's capital. Dig deep tunnels, store grain, and prepare for war. Over 300,000 Beijing citizens, including school children, were mobilized to dig. Most of the work was done by hand, without heavy machinery. To supply construction materials, centuries-old city walls, towers, and gates that had circled ancient Beijing were demolished. The digging continued from 1969 to 1979. The completed complex spans approximately 85 square kilometers beneath central Beijing, sitting 8 to 18 meters underground. The government claimed it could accommodate the entire population of 6 million. The tunnels were equipped with restaurants, clinics, schools, theaters, a roller skating rink, grain warehouses, and a mushroom cultivation farm. 2,300 ventilation shafts were engineered to seal against nuclear, biological, and chemical fallout. Around 90 entrances were hidden in shops, alleyways, and residential buildings. The tunnels reportedly connect Tiananmen Square, the Forbidden City, the government compound at Zhongnanhai, and military installations in the Western Hills. The complex was never used for its intended purpose. Portions opened briefly to foreign tourists in 2000 before closing in 2008. After the Cold War threat faded, sections became cheap housing for migrant workers. Beijing authorities banned residential use in 2010 over safety concerns. Beijing's underground city was built for pure survival, with zero consideration for beauty or aesthetics. But the next city on this list is the exact opposite. It is underground art on a scale that seems physically impossible. Number 2. The Wieliczka salt mine, Poland. Just southeast of Krakow lies an underground world that an 18th century French traveler compared to the pyramids of Egypt. The Wieliczka salt mine produced table salt continuously for over 700 years, from the 1280s until 1996. It reaches 327 meters below the surface, across 9 levels. That is deeper than the Eiffel Tower is tall. The mine contains roughly 245 kilometers of tunnels and around 2,500 chambers. During the reign of King Casimir the Great in the 14th century, salt extraction generated roughly 1/3 of Poland's royal treasury income. That revenue helped found the Krakow Academy, the country's first university. But what makes Wieliczka extraordinary is not the salt. It is what the miners did with it. Over the centuries, miners carved the rock salt into sculptures, altars, and entire chapels. The Chapel of St. Kinga sits 101 meters underground. It is 54 meters long, 17 meters wide, and 12 meters high. Every surface is carved entirely from salt, the altar, the chandeliers made from salt crystals, and a full bas-relief reproduction of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. 3 miners, the brothers Józef and Tomasz Markowski and Antoni Wirodek, spent nearly 70 years completing it. Mass is still held there on Sundays and special occasions, including weddings. The mine was one of the first 12 sites inscribed on the original United Nations World Heritage List in 1978. It receives up to 9,000 visitors per day. Notable visitors across history include Copernicus, Goethe, Chopin, and Pope John Paul II, whose statue now stands in the chapel carved from salt. During World War II, the Nazis converted sections into an underground armament factory using forced labor from the Plazow concentration camp. Only about 2% of the mine is open to the public. Wieliczka was built over 700 years, but the final city on this list has been under construction for even longer. 2,500 years, and it still has not been fully mapped. Number 1. Orvieto Underground, Italy. The Italian city of Orvieto sits on a volcanic tufa plateau in Umbria, about 100 kilometers north of Rome. Above ground, it is known for its Gothic cathedral. Beneath the surface lies a separate city that has been under continuous construction for 2.5 millennia. Over 1,200 caves, tunnels, wells, cisterns, and chambers have been cataloged beneath the city. The network was first carved by the Etruscans, starting in the 6th century BCE. The plateau had no natural water supply, so the Etruscans cut rectangular wells through solid rock, no wider than 80 by 120 centimeters, dropping straight down for dozens of meters. Small notches called pedirol were carved into the walls so workers could climb up and down without ropes. Speleologists who descended these wells in the 1960s realized they were placing their feet in the exact same footholds used by other hands 25 centuries earlier. Those wells sustained the Etruscan city of Velsna through a 2-year Roman siege before it fell in 264 BCE. But the digging never stopped. Medieval inhabitants added olive presses, dove cotes with hundreds of nesting niches, quarries for building stone, and wine cellars that took advantage of the constant underground temperature. Noble families carved secret escape tunnels leading beyond the city walls for use during sieges. In 1527, after Pope Clement VII fled the sack of Rome to Orvieto, he commissioned the architect Antonio da Sangallo the Younger to build St. Patrick's Well. It plunges 53 meters deep with a double helix staircase, so pack animals carrying water could ascend and descend simultaneously without blocking each other. A landslide in the 1970s exposed part of the network, leading speleologists to catalog the full scope for the first time. Today, guided tours run daily from Piazza del Duomo, but further digging beneath Orvieto has been permanently banned because the underground network is so dense it threatens the structural integrity of the city above. Step back and look at the pattern. 7 underground cities, 7 different centuries, 7 different reasons to dig. The Etruscans dug for water, the Cappadocians for shelter, the Poles for salt, the Australians for opals and shade, the Chinese to prepare for nuclear war, the Scots for commercial space, the French for survival. But what connects them is not the digging, it is the forgetting. Edinburgh was sealed for a century. Naours was lost for decades. Derinkuyu was hidden behind a wall for 40 years. Orvieto's network was not cataloged until the 1960s. We build these extraordinary things underground. Cities, full cities, and we forget they exist. Every one of these places is real, and most of them are open for visitors. You can walk through Derinkuyu right now. You can descend into Wieliczka and see the salt chandeliers yourself. You can sleep underground in Coober, Pedy tonight. If this kind of deep dive interests you, check out the video on screen right now. Thanks for watching.